that relocation process. So basically you want to make sure that wherever you move, you have those systems in place as your support system where you need it to help you with your children, transportation. For instance, if you live while you live in Robles, so if you want to move to Riverview or Apollo Beach, but maybe you have employment in the city of Tampa, how's your transportation going to work for you? Our transportation system right now is a little lacking, if it's a correct term. So you want to make sure you kind of look at everything. Remember, whoever you lease with for that, if it's a unit or an apartment, you are there for 1 year. So you really want to make sure that's where you want to be when you actually move out of Robles. You want to make sure, I think I heard earlier in the presentation regarding your educational opportunities, how's the school system for your children? Are you going to like that area for them? How is the employment opportunities wherever you go? Crime, you want to look at whether or not that particular apartment building has calls for service. How is it on the weekend? So you really want to kind of do your investigation before moving in. Because I have a couple of individuals that non-RAD, non-PBB clients that moved into an area. Actually, I think they ported into our area, moved here, but now realized that the area is not conducive to, raising kids, or something has happened. And unfortunately, we just can't terminate a lease. It's a legal binding document. So you really want to do your investigation prior to moving. And one of the benefits, well, a couple of benefits that you have is that you have with the relocation process is that you have someone helping you, and you are not doing this alone. So you heard Rosa earlier, of a PPS manager helping you with this process. So that way you can breathe a sigh of relief. You have support walking you through this. And before you get the voucher, we will do classes and presentations so you're more well-versed. So this is just a snippet. The other benefit, of course, is that you are already receiving assistance. So you already know our process. You already have the packet. You already know what to do from our end. So you already have a specialist assigned. A lot of the families that went through previous relocations had to start from scratch, but you guys have an advantage over them. Next slide. You want to look at your background checks. Right now, it is a very tight rental market that has been really impacting voucher holders. A lot of you have already received vouchers and decided to give it back because you really couldn't find anything. So we want you to start looking at, how is your credit right now? Is it going to deter you from potentially renting on the market? But that's not going to limit you from going to one of our other properties. So you will have somewhere to go. So just keep that in mind. You are not going to be without housing. It may not be a voucher at this moment because maybe you can't find anything, but you will have housing on one of our properties. And then after you're there for a year, you again get to be on a wait list for a voucher and you can start that process again. I'm hoping the market becomes a little bit more friendlier by the time we start issuing vouchers. One of the two things that have happened last year was the Hillsborough County passed a income source protection ordinance. So in unincorporated Hillsborough County, owners, managers cannot deny you simply because you have a voucher. They might deny you for other things, but they can't outrightly say to you, I don't want to rent you because you have Section 8. And from what I understand, and I'm still searching for the language, the city of Tampa did the same exact thing. So it's kind of protecting you so that you are not denied just right off the bat because you have a voucher, which is unfair, of course. So next slide. One of the tools that we also, actually our IT department created for us is that it's a rental affordability calculator. And it might look pretty far reaching right now for you because you probably don't understand these numbers. But when you start searching, we're going to give you a document that's going to have all this information on here. Your total tenant payment is your 30% of your income. And you should already know what that is because you're receiving subsidy through our department. So you already have your TTP. What this calculator does, it helps you determine whether or not you can afford a particular property based on zip code. Prior to the small area fair market rent implementation, which you'll get very familiar with here shortly, we just had 5 payment standards just for every bedroom size. So now we have 52 different payment standards, which means how much the PHA will pay up to based on a zip code. So if you went to 33607 and you had a 2-bedroom voucher, the amount of money we can pay up in 33607 may be lower than what we could pay for in Riverview or Apollo Beach. But when you get your voucher, we will go over this a little bit better. But it is on our website, so I would play around with it, get familiar with it. You just need to know your voucher size. So head of household will have their own room, and then it's, you know, 2, I don't want to say heartbeats anymore, but if you have 2 daughters, that's 1 room, two sons, that's another room. If you just have yourself and a daughter and a son, that's a 3-bedroom voucher. So the sexes stay in their own individual rooms. And then the rest will get filled in as you go along. Next slide. And then the last tool that I want to kind of present to you is the FloridaHousingSearch.org tool. Really good way to start looking right now if you want to move out to Brandon area. You type in the zip code and it'll pull up all of the available units. This is not the only tool, of course. There's rent.com, apartment.com. You could just drive around. I've been starting to see more signs pop up saying, hey, this is renting to Section 8, which I hadn't seen in a while. And we also get sometimes inquiries from landlords say, hey, I want to rent my unit. So we do ask all landlords to post their properties on this website. Doesn't necessarily mean they will, but it is a good starting tool for you. And so other than that, we will, again, when we start that process, we will go in more detail for you. So, but I just want you to start thinking about some certain things. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jones. Question for clarification. Do I have to live in Hillsborough County to get a voucher?
I'm not really understanding that because when we relocate you, you will get a voucher. So maybe we need clarification on that.
Okay, let me say this. Is there any restrictions, city or county wise, when it comes to moving with a voucher, with a Section 8 voucher?
No, actually, and we'll talk about this when you relocate, is that you can take your voucher right now and move to any other PHA in the country that has a voucher program. So I know when we relocated families from North Boulevard, there were a couple of families. One went to Philadelphia. I can't remember where the other family went to. I just, you know, I'm very leery about sending families out to other communities because we really, really want to make sure you're successful. And your voucher is good for, so if we, let's just say we port you out, we give you 90 days, that PHA will give you another 30 days. So you'll have 120 days. But if you don't find anything in 120 days, it could be very well potential they'll send you back to us. So before you, and I don't want to discourage you, but if you do decide to port out, let's just say you do, make sure you do your research. Do you have somewhere to go? Because the market is tight, not only here, but everywhere. We have a lot of families coming back from portability. But yes, you most definitely can, city, Hillsborough County, or outside of there. Pasco County, wherever you want to go, absolutely.
Thank you. Next question. If I have a place that's willing to take the voucher now, when can I get the voucher?
Well, if you, as Rosa mentioned earlier, if you get the voucher now, You'd really have to be on a wait list, and we would let you know you're next to get the voucher. If you don't have the voucher now and you don't have, and you weren't contacted, you're not going to get the voucher until we start relocation.
Okay, the next questions are around moving and benefits. So I'm sure David, Mr. Aloni is coming back after you, so I can ask those questions during that time.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I do have a quick question, Margaret. For those individuals that feel as if they've been discriminated against because of rent, is there a legal service that they can call to get assistance?
Well, it's a Hillsborough County website. And if you just Google Hillsborough County Income Source Protections, and I have sent this out to a couple families that felt like they were being discriminated against. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure there's a phone call. Let me just pull it up really quickly. But it's the Hillsborough County website, and it's I think there's actual complaint form that they can complete. One second. Yeah, it is. I don't see a phone number, but there is a complaint form to complete. Here, let me see. Report a code violation. File a complaint. Yeah, it's an actual form. Then they do have the Hillsborough County Human Rights Ordinance listed on there. And the number right here, it's to Mr. Coleman. It's on the website, but it's 813-272-6554. And the city of Tampa, I'm still doing that research. I don't know the contact right now.
Thank you.
So Margaret, are you posting that in the chat?
Yes, that'd probably be helpful, right? Yeah, I'll do that right now.
Thank you.
Now,
That is all the questions for this
just
section.
one quick add on. They also can contact Bay Area Legal Service, and you can type in to get the number, just type it in, Bay Area Legal Services. In addition to the information that Margaret provided, that's another source you can go to related to that issue. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Margaret and Rosa. So for our final presentation, we have our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Leroy Moore, to talk about the schedule of activities.
All right, good morning, everyone. And so my role is just to try to recap a lot of this and then just ask if you have any questions. So you heard the presentations already. Just to recap, we hope to submit the relocation plan in the next 2 weeks or so. Today is the last day for comment. If you have any comments from the relocation plan, I think it's been in everybody's hands for over 2 weeks now. If it didn't get placed in your hand at your door, it was placed in your door with a note on it from our relocation and case management staff. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to thumb through that relocation plan. Get any additional questions to us today. We will start finalizing that relocation plan, submitting it to HUD within the next 2 weeks or so. So mid-April, we'll submit the relocation plan to HUD. We hope to have HUD approval in about 45 to 60 days. So our best guess on when the first relocations can begin would be June timeframe. And ahead of actually starting relocation, we have to get people, we have to actually start presenting for you the relocation classes. You'll have to start meeting one-on-one with the relocation managers. And we hope to start that process by the end of May. We won't have HUD approval by then, but we want to go ahead and get started with the trainings and counseling so that we can get some people actually queued up and be in front of the line. So if you want to be in the front of the line, just make sure you sign up for these relocation classes when we actually post them. Attend the relocation classes, and that gets you started in the process. I won't go over the relocation classes. You guys have heard about that already. Let's see if there are any questions. We can open up the lines. You can use the chat box as well as just unmute and ask your question live if you like. So Rosa, any questions in the queue?
Okay, sure. I just wanted to make sure that no residents were opening up the chat. You just mentioned the timeline for when we will start moving people out. The next question is, when will we post the schedule for the classes?
Yeah, that would probably be in the next, by the end of April, we hope to post the schedule for classes. And we'll have a number of different options, daytime classes, evening classes, and even a Saturday class for those that work during the week and can't take off.
Okay, if a person decides to stay with the housing unit and not choose Section 8, will the moving expenses still be paid?
Yes, yes. Yes, so you know, your options are move to another one of our properties in which we will pay for the moving company to relocate you. We pay, you know, we pay either way. Or if you choose a Section 8 voucher and you actually go into the private market, same benefits come to you.
Okay, and just for clarification, resident wants to know, if they choose the area they want to live, will it affect what they pay for rent?
Yes, it could. And let me ask Margaret to speak specifically about the Section 8 program. Your rent should not change if you move into another public housing or RAD unit. The only way your rent should change is if you have income that increases or other people that you add to your lease that increases your total household income, or if on the Section 8 program you choose to rent a unit and pay in excess of 30% of your income toward rent to get a nicer or bigger unit. But Margaret, you can explain that process on the Section 8 side.
Right. So if you, like Mr. Moore said, if you stay within the RAD portfolio, your rent will always be 30% of your income minus any utility allowance that we provide. So if you do move to areas that the payment standard is lower, that means we pay less as a PHA, but the gross rent is higher, you'll pay 30% of your income. And we'll go over this in detail. You'll pay a little bit, you'll pay your 30%, but anything above that payment standard, which is why it's called Housing Choice Voucher. We want to be able to ensure that you have the choice of where you want to go. If you go to a higher opportunity area where the payment standard is higher, your rent will be impacted. So it just depends on where you want to go. And that rental calculator will be a really good tool for you because it really will detail out, you know, what your portion of the rent may be. And, but, you know, that's into, once we get the RTA and we calculate everything, if the rent's too high or whatever, we will negotiate with the owner. We will talk to them because, you know, you can't initially pay more than 40% of your income towards rent. But yes, just to answer broadly, your rent portion can change depending on where you go.
Okay, so Margaret, I think this one is for you. Residents who have felons and being denied for housing, what should they do?
You know, you were in, I can't say that because our background checks are very minimal. You just keep trying, honestly. So your case manager is going to help you because what's going to happen is we don't want you to do an application fee and not know the background check and waste that money. So your case manager is going to really communicate with that property manager, say, hey, what is your eligibility criteria? So before we even do the application, you're not paying an upfront fee. So apartment complexes will have background checks. There's some that may go back 100 years, which is really ridiculous, but it happens. So you may be faced with that. Some landlords may request a higher security deposit just because it may be considered a higher risk. But it's not an end all to be all, meaning there are ways that people have rented. So don't let that discourage you. But what I would do is let your case manager help you through that process. So we don't waste time and energy upfront, especially money, right?
Right, thank you. And if I can add to that, that's part of what I was mentioning earlier, where it's going to be really, really important for you to be totally honest with your case manager. Because if we know these things in advance and you start looking at places and we start pulling lease criteria, we can let you know ahead of time that this may not be a good option for you, work with you on how we can work around it or how we can work with that management company. So it's going to be really, really important to share all of your information that's being requested with your case manager. Okay. Back to Mr. Moore, or maybe even Todd, I'm not sure. If we have a problem in a unit that causes health issues, what can be done for us if we have to relocate sooner than the relocation actually starts?
Yeah, and if you've got a health condition in your unit currently, you need to get that reported to the work order system, to the property manager. We need to get that situation looked into. So if you have already reported it and you don't feel like you're getting the proper response, you can email me directly. My email is leroy.moore, LEROY.MOORE @THAFL.com. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, if we chose a Section 8 voucher, and I believe they're referring to the pre-relocation survey that was done, and we cannot find an apartment, can we switch to transfer to another development in THA? And the answer to that question is yes.
You can answer that one, Rosa.
The answer to that question is yes. You can let your relocation manager know that you've opted out of Section 8 at that time and you want to go to another housing development. Will there be a list of properties that are associated with Section 8 sent out to the residents? And I believe I can answer that one as well. It's posted on the THA website, so residents can pull that and download it from the THA website.
Well, let me just kind of clarify. We don't really have a list per se, right? It's really going to floridahousingssearch.org and kind of using that website as a tool to start looking. And when you get out there, your case manager is going to help you kind of go through different avenues. So Florida Housing Search is one, apartment.com is another, rent.com is another. So there's different tools, but we don't have it listed on the website where you can download.
Okay, thank you. Last question I have in the chat. Residents are losing money because they're being denied. Is there any way they can get their money back? And the answer to that question is no, because we are not in the actual process of relocation. So that's why we're having these meetings to remind residents and inform residents that if they are moving or putting in applications prior to relocation, that they are totally on their own. Residents falling under the relocation process will get reimbursed if they pay out an application fee or have THA pay it for them in advance. So that is the last question I have in the chat. If I missed anyone, you're welcome to open your mic and ask your question.
So I actually have two questions. The first question, and both of these questions goes to Leroy. The first question is, are the classes going to be virtual? Or are they going to be in-person classes?
Yes, we're trying to schedule all of the classes in person as well as the relocation meetings starting fairly soon, because we think the information gets better communicated and better received when we're physically together. That considered, we understand that some people still have concerns about the virus, And we will be offering an option for a virtual meeting for the classes, as well as virtual meetings for the relocation meetings. But we want to see everybody in person during the classes if they're able to join us.
And the second question is it possible that at least one of the classes could be recorded and placed on your website, so people can go there and get a feel as to what are the questions that's going to be asked? So the questions they might not even thought about, but they get a feel for what's the lay of the land. So when they take the class, they can be much more prepared to make it a good class.
Yeah, that's a great idea, good suggestion, and we can certainly do that. We have already recorded this meeting. So we have this meeting available on our website for those that can't meet us every 2 weeks and want to get a feel for, how this, the types of questions and how this process is going. So when we start the actual classes, yes, I think we can easily record one of those and make it available online. That will not, however, exempt people out from having to physically take the class, either virtually or in person, because we need to account for people having literally sat for the 1 hour, 2 hour class, receive the information, and it's a process whereby we check people off who've actually participated.
Next
But
question.
yeah, just for information, having it available on the website is an easy to do thing for us. We can do that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Randolph, for those questions. Next one, when I move out of Robles, will I get my deposit back that I paid there? And I believe, Todd, I can answer that question too. Yes, you will get your deposit back that you was paid. Now, I don't know if anyone want to explain the actual deposits being paid back and the transfer, if they transfer to another development within THA.
Yeah, so let me explain it now. If you move to the Section 8 program, either way, when you move, if you leave the unit in a cleared out condition, we're not looking for a clean unit, but we're looking for all your furnishings, all your belongings to have left that unit with you. You get your deposit back. Yes.
Okay, there are no more questions in the chat. I don't know if we have any from any residents directly.
Okay, so
I have a question.
I'm sorry.
I have a question. Say if you moved in and you didn't pay a deposit, but someone paid, I guess someone else paid the deposit. When I moved in, I didn't pay no deposit. I just paid my rent. And I guess y'all paid my deposit. So how does that work?
Yeah, everybody has a deposit on file. So whether you personally paid it or you had someone or a company or entity pay it on your behalf, that is now your deposit. So you will get that deposit refunded to you when you move, as long as you move your items out of the unit. Yes.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And that's sort of the same thing. When you go into the Section 8 program, we pay your deposit for you. That becomes your deposit. So a year from now, 2 years from now, when you move from that Section 8 unit, if you leave in accordance with your lease, you should get that refunded to you. That becomes your money.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a question related to when Robles Park get knocked down. Is it going to be illegal for us to take a brick so we can remember? Maybe take that brick, hook it up, put it on our table and say, hey, I remember Robles Park. I ain't trying to start no trouble.
Got really good questions, really good suggestions too. So, the bricks at Robles are big bricks. They're blocks. Okay. So if we can figure out a way where we can collect some of them, clean them up, and give them to people who want them, we'll do that. Okay. So we've done that before where we have regular brick. I can show you a brick right here from other properties. But those big blocks, they usually crumble when you break them up. But if you let your case manager know you like a brick, or maybe you like your address label or something. We'll try to get that to you. We've done that before.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Randolph. I have bricks from North Boulevard that residents didn't pick up. So please make
Yeah,
sure you
this is-
really want your brick before
Yeah,
you
this-
ask your case manager to collect your brick.
Yeah, this is the one we did at the Encore. This is how it was done, wrapped up. And so, yep.
Okay, guys, there are no other questions in the chat. I put my email, phone number, cell phone number in the chat earlier. If anyone needs to contact me, please do so, as well as some of the other contacts that are in the chat.
Rosa,
Oh,
one last good question there that just came through the chat. Does residents accumulate equity
Equity.
while on the Section 8 program? And Margaret, I believe they're talking about the FSS program, so it's an opportunity to just remind.
Yeah, so if you, I mean, families can right now join FSS if they wanted to. RAD families are always eligible, but once you're, let's just say if you join the FSS program with no income, we calculate that, and technically any portion that is reduced because of the HAP payment goes into an account for you. It does build some equity, some interest on that. So we have families every month graduating from this FSS program, which is a great program. I have signed off on checks, $20,000, $5,000. So it's, if you have limited income at this time, it's a great time to join, like right now. And actually the last meeting we had, I sent out applications to about 5 folks, and we started that enrollment process. So you can enroll now. And then from FSS, if you go into the voucher program, then you would be eligible to be in the running to purchase a home. So great opportunities for you, but yeah, you can definitely join FSS now.
Margaret, it's not just limited to Section 8, right? It's Section 8 or RAD public housing. FSS?
FSS, yes, it is for everybody receiving assistance. Absolutely.
So Margaret, just one thing. What is the timeline? Is there a amount of time? Do you have to do like a minimum 5 years or certain amount of time on the FSS program before you graduate?
So the contract is for 5 years, but you can graduate depending on your income. So it's based on a calculation, but you could graduate in 3 years. It's just based on your 30% in that calculation. So, and as long as you met all of the goals that you created at initial intake. So a lot of families don't take advantage of it, but it's not intrusive. It's just very minimal, but it helps you get a GED, get a different job, get an education if you hadn't one, or, find a different job. Maybe you don't like the job you're in. And you have someone, you'll have an FSS case manager basically assessing you and walking you through the program. If you do not complete goals, it's not that big of a deal. We just exit you from the FSS program. So there's no impact on your subsidy. It's just a little bit of time and commitment, and that's it.
Can I join if I want to?
And Margaret, they have also used that to gain a home ownership, right? I mean, in terms of benefit from it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Margaret, can I join if I'm on Social Security?
Well, that's a good question. So if your intention is to get employment from Social Security to become employed, which we have had, yes, join FSS. If your intention is to buy a home and you are on Social Security, you get to bypass FSS, of course. So that wouldn't apply to you, but you'd still have to qualify to purchase a home through a normal bank, approval process, but no. So just kind of think that through.
And last question, how do residents apply for FSS?
There is an application. Actually, I think I'm going to email it to Rosa. I think Rosa has best access to everybody. I don't think we have it online, but we might. But I'll email it to Rosa Hill, and she'll have it.
Yeah. So
Just
for the time being, if you're interested in FSS, just contact Rosa, and she's put her contact info in the chat log. Rosa.Hill@tjfl.com. That's the easiest way. Just email her, let her know you're interested in FSS. She'll get you to the right person.
Okay, that is all the questions I have. And just one person let me know that they're interested. So I'm writing their name down right now so I can send it. As soon as I get it, they will get it. Okay? And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Moore, and thank you, Rosa. If anyone has any questions after we conclude the meeting, you can reach out to any one of the departments that you've heard from today, or simply call the management office at Robles Park, and we'll get you in touch with the people that can help you. So I just want to thank everyone for attending, and we'll go ahead and conclude the meeting at this time. Thank you.